Amma was born into a humble family in a small sun-scorched village nestled between sprawling farmlands. Her father, Okoro, worked tirelessly in the fields, cultivating crops that barely fetched enough to sustain them. Her mother, Amara, supplemented their meager income by selling vegetables at the local market. Despite their hardships, their small home was filled with warmth, laughter, and love. Okoro often said, "Amma, you are the light in our lives. One day, you'll make us proud." From an early age, it was evident that Amma was special. While other children played in the dirt, Amma immersed herself in books borrowed from her primary school's tiny library. She was a curious and eager learner, her questions often leaving her teachers astounded. By the time she reached her final year in primary school, she was the top student in her district, receiving praise and recognition. But as Amma's primary education drew to a close, her family faced an insurmountable obstacle: secondary school fees. Okoro and Amara tried everything, selling extra produce, borrowing from neighbors, and even considering selling their cherished goat. But it wasn't enough. The thought of Amma's dreams ending prematurely broke their hearts. Then came a miracle. Amma's headmaster nominated her for a scholarship at Starlight Academy, the most prestigious secondary school in the region. The scholarship covered her tuition, books, and even a new uniform. When the acceptance letter arrived, Amma's family celebrated as though the heavens had opened for them. "This is just the beginning," Okoro said, tears glistening in his eyes. At Starlight Academy, Amma's brilliance shone even brighter. She excelled in all her subjects, quickly becoming a favorite among her teachers. Her name was often announced during school assemblies, and she was chosen to represent the school in academic competitions. Despite her success, Amma remained humble and focused, aware that her journey was a rare opportunity her family had fought hard to secure. However, life at Starlight Academy was not without challenges. Among her classmates was a notorious group of 7 girls who called themselves the Queens. They were beautiful, fashionable, and always seemed to have money to spare. Their secret? Every weekend they snuck out of school to meet wealthy men in town, trading their company for money and gifts. One Friday evening, the leader of the group, Mimi, approached Amma in the dormitory. "Amma, you're too serious all the time. Life is about more than just books," Mimi said with a sly smile. "Come with us this weekend. You'll make enough money to buy anything you want, even send some home to your parents." Amma shook her head firmly. "No, Mimi, that's not the kind of life I want." But Mimi was persistent, and over the following weeks the other girls joined in, mocking Amma for her simplicity and poverty mindset. Their words stung, and though Amma resisted, she couldn't ignore the financial struggles her family faced. Her heart ached every time she received a letter from her mother detailing their difficulties. Eventually, desperation won. One weekend, Amma decided to join them, but to leave the school, they needed permission from Mr. Kingsley, the teacher in charge of granting exits. When Amma approached him, he looked at her with concern. "Amma, you've never asked for an exit before. Why now?" "I need to handle something in town, sir," she lied, avoiding his gaze. Mr. Kingsley studied her for a moment, then shook his head. "I'm sorry, but I can't grant this. You're one of our best students. Stay focused on your studies." Frustrated but determined, Amma stayed behind after class to plead with him. They sat in the staff room, her voice trembling as she tried to explain her urgent need. Unbeknownst to them, another teacher, Mrs. Duro, passed by and saw them together. Mrs. Duro had long disliked Mr. Kingsley and saw an opportunity to tarnish his reputation. She secretly took a photo of the two and sent it to the headmaster, accusing Mr. Kingsley of having an affair with Amma. The next morning, Amma was summoned to the headmaster's office. She walked in to find Mr. Kingsley standing there, his face pale. The headmaster threw the photo onto the table. "Explain this," he demanded. Amma's voice quivered as she tried to explain the situation, but her words fell on deaf ears. The photo was damning, and despite their protests, Mr. Kingsley was dismissed, and Amma was given an indefinite suspension. When Amma returned home, her parents were devastated. Amara wept uncontrollably, and Okoro couldn't look his daughter in the eye. "How could you bring shame to our family?" he asked, his voice heavy with disappointment. Amma's world crumbled. She locked herself in her room, consumed by guilt and despair. That weekend, the 7 girls went to town as planned. On Monday morning, news spread like wildfire. The girls had been brutally murdered by the men they had gone to meet. Amma's suspension had saved her life. Weeks later, the truth began to unravel. Mrs. Duro's actions were exposed when a fellow teacher overheard her bragging about getting rid of Mr. Kingsley. An investigation followed, and the headmaster realized the photo had been misconstrued. Amma and Mr. Kingsley were innocent. The school invited Amma back, apologizing publicly for their mistake. She was compensated, and so was Mr. Kingsley, who was reinstated. Though the ordeal left scars, Amma emerged stronger. She graduated at the top of her class and earned a full scholarship to university. University brought new challenges. Amma struggled to balance her demanding coursework with part-time jobs to support her family. She also faced prejudice from peers who looked down on her humble beginnings. Despite these difficulties, she persevered, finding solace in her studies and forming friendships with like-minded individuals. In her final year, Amma was selected for an international exchange program. This opportunity allowed her to travel abroad, gain invaluable experience, and build a network of professionals in her chosen field of medicine. The experience was transformative, broadening her horizons and solidifying her determination to make a difference. After years of hard work and dedication, Amma finally returned to her homeland. Her parents were ecstatic and prepared to meet her at the airport to celebrate her triumphant homecoming. But fate had other plans. On their way to the airport, Okoro and Amara's car was involved in a tragic accident. Both of them lost their lives instantly. Amma's joy turned into unbearable sorrow when she received the news upon landing. She collapsed in tears, her heart shattered by the loss of the 2 people who had sacrificed everything for her dreams. The weight of their absence was overwhelming, but Amma resolved to honor their memory. With the help of the compensation from the school and her own savings, Amma fulfilled her parents' lifelong dream of giving back to their community. She built a small clinic in their village, naming it the Okoro and Amara Memorial Clinic. The clinic provided healthcare services to people who had previously traveled long distances for basic care. Amma's dedication to her community was unwavering. She often worked late into the night, sacrificing her own comfort to ensure her patients received the care they needed. Her story became an inspiration, not only to the children in her village, but also to those in surrounding areas. Parents told their children about Amma, the girl who rose from poverty to achieve greatness through hard work and determination. Years later, during a village celebration in her honor, Amma addressed the crowd with a heartfelt speech. "My journey has been filled with trials, but each challenge shaped me into who I am today. Never underestimate the power of dreams and the strength within you to achieve them. This clinic is not just my success, it's ours." As the crowd erupted into applause, Amma stood alone on the stage, her parents' absence a painful reminder of the price she had paid. Yet, their spirit lived on in her work, in the lives she saved, and in the legacy she built in their honor. Amma's journey was far from over. She expanded her clinic, introduced educational programs on health and hygiene, and mentored young girls who dreamed of following in her footsteps. Her life became a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the incredible impact one person can make when they refuse to give up. Through her tireless efforts, Amma transformed not just her own life, but the lives of countless others. Her story became an encouragement, reminding everyone that even in the face of pain, disappointment, and uncertainty, there is always a path forward for those who dare to dream and persevere.